All right, all right.
Rolling.
Welcome to the Tuesday CoachRx Podcast Network live with the awesome coaches of the network. How you doing, David?
I'm doing well. An hour removed from the OPEX method. Just got my office a little more organized than it's been for a while. So, good start to the day.
I saw you had a beautiful morning too. The weather was great.
Yeah, it's like actually need a sweatshirt. You can go outside, run around. The dog can be out there. Yeah, it was a nice little morning.
Are you enjoying the home gym now?
Yes, haven't used it a ton. My wife has used it more. We actually just got the gym flooring put in on the patio over the weekend. So yeah, we got the spin bike, we got the gym, we got the barbell and the cables all set up. Got a little like dip station. So yeah, solid plus a little open turf space, some kettlebells. How about that setup?
Amazing. Well,
Yeah,
today I wanted to pick your brain about some recent things that you have posted, recent wisdom, because I thought this was a really interesting post that you had shared. And I'll just read the first kind of paragraph. You did like a Twitter caption post,
yeah,
and it said, "As a fitness professional, one of our roles is to reduce fear and apprehension and build confidence and comfort with exercise. Take the scary out of weightlifting. Help clients and athletes understand that they have complete control inside the gym." And you expand upon this in a lot of ways, but I wanted you to just be able to kind of share this perspective because I don't think I've really heard anyone talk about it this way.
yeah. So it's interesting. That was actually um, something that I thought about while I was creating another post, which I think you also snagged, which was a post about how like lifting weights has never hurt anyone, but people have hurt themselves lifting weights. And so I think there's a lot of confusion about the safety of the gym, the safety of exercise in general. Um, and a lot of that apprehension and anxiety around that comes from a misunderstanding of how much control the client has or the person lifting the weights doing the exercises has and how many variables are under their control. And then as a coach, our role in assisting them to understand that control and then sort of facilitating their preparation, which is a big part of the control that people have in the gym. So, the client has control over their physical preparation. So, right, their warm up, their readiness. They have control over their mental preparation, their focus versus distraction in the gym. They ultimately choose how much load is going to go on the bar, right, or how much load is going to be in their hands for a kettlebell swing or whatever exercise you choose. They get to control how fast they go. They get to control how long they pause. They get to control how close they go to failure. As a coach, we can make our recommendations. We can help them make informed decisions. So, we could predetermine the weight, the speed, the pause, how close to failure. Those are all things we can literally program and provide guidance and education about. But, a lot of it philosophically comes back to this idea that a lot of anxiety exists in our thoughts about the future, right, versus our actual reality. You can't actually be anxious in the present. It's impossible, right? You just are in the present. So anxiety is typically projecting the future, right? Or reflecting on something that's previously happened and you're anxious about, this thing that happened before, or you're unsure or scared of an outcome that you can't fully predict. And so as a coach, giving my clients more variables in their control, I have the ability to significantly reduce apprehension, which significantly reduces fear. And then ultimately, all of that combined helps reduce the risk of an injury. Also, just helps reduce the risk of experiencing pain, whether or not there is an injury, because we know fear and anxiety are directly linked to heightened pain experience, lowered pain threshold. Um, so that's kind of the ultimate goal of that post, is just helping coaches understand we have a duty to our clients, if we believe in the power of movement and exercise, to reduce the anxiety that may be associated with movement and exercise due to a lack of knowledge and due to a perception that they don't have control over their circumstances. And to me, the gym is probably the place where you have maybe the most controlled anywhere in your life, right? It's just a big room full of inanimate objects, and you could stand in the middle of the gym and none of the weights are going to come get you. You have to go get them, and then you get to decide what you do with them. And so making intelligent choices and understanding all the variables you have control over, I think is a huge benefit for clients.
Yeah. And I think that gym anxiety is something that spans across every age demographic of someone who's interested in like pursuing fitness. A lot of that is also influenced by like what we see in fitness culture, right? Really portraying these extreme training sessions where you're pushing the intensity and, really almost like causing pain in the session. And that's supposed to be the ideal kind of session experience. Or if someone has like dabbled in or out, and obviously they're not as exposed to the stimulus, they're going to experience soreness, maybe more intensely than someone would who's used to that stimulus. So if they're bouncing in and out inconsistently, they're going to feel things that make them have more anxiety about feeling that again. So I think it's super
Yeah.
important thought.
And I mean, I can link it like directly to what we talked about today in week 3, right? OPEX method, which is, as a coach, can you identify, the level of your client? Are they a beginner? Are they an intermediate? Or are they advanced? Right? Are you making program design choices that are appropriate for that client so they're not experiencing excessive soreness, right? So that they're not having 3, 4, 5 days in a row where they're wondering if they actually did push too hard and they don't even know if they're injured or just sore, right? And then being diligent about like what phase of the program are you in, right? Are you making choices that are based on the adaptation you want, that are not too extreme, right? Are you creating an adaptation that they are capable of recovering from? If you're using CoachRx, are you prescribing recovery? Or are you just hoping they go to bed on time so that you can smash them again the next day?
Yeah. Do you feel like from a client perspective, I know you work with a wide variety of ages. Do you feel like this fear really does span all ages, or were you speaking more specifically to your elder population that you coach when it comes to injury in this particular post?
No, I think it's everyone. I think it's across the board. I think the fears are different, right? And maybe like the number of times and the number of people who have told them things about training that have made them scared, right, could be different. But I do think everyone who is not a fitness professional has some level of anxiety around exercise, even if they're just not sure if they're making the right choices, right? They're just not sure if they're spending their time wisely, right? That could be a fear. I'm spending these 4 hours, but I don't look any different. I don't feel any different. Or should I look more different than I do, right? And it's just super ambiguous because they're not making informed decisions. They're copycatting, something they saw, like you said, something extreme from the internets, without any idea of what that influencer's training background is. Whether those are videos from 6 months ago, whether that's how they train all the time, or just for a photo shoot, and you're just trying to copy it because it looks cool, then you're wondering if you're making the right choices, and maybe you don't have the right equipment. So like, am I making the right substitution? There's always, even coaches, I think, are probably thinking about this stuff, right? The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. So as soon as you start to learn anything, right, you realize this world of exercise is so massive, and that's a different type of fear and anxiety that we can work with versus, I heard barbells are dangerous, or, I have a bulging disc, I shouldn't load my spine, and all, things that are more concrete, like physiological pain fears.
Yeah. Are there key moments in the client relationship where you sort of go heavier handed in addressing this, or is it something that you're just constantly managing?
I think it's a little bit constant. It's usually triggered by things clients say, so it's easier in person. You have to maybe pull it out a little bit more via consultations if the client is online, or ask specific questions, because you don't just have that. Hey, I just had this thought while we were doing this exercise. I heard something, right, from my friend about kettlebell swings. Is that true? That's not going to happen when you're just like delivering programming remotely and doing a weekly questionnaire via the app. So a little more intentional there. But one thing that I've gotten feedback on from clients is that one of the things they've appreciated in terms of working with me is that I'm almost always optimistic about their movement ability. So there's always another door we can open. If something does hurt, I'll give them maybe some explanation as to why I think it did, plus a few other variables outside the gym that may contribute to their pain. Like, how'd you sleep? I know you were just telling me about what a stressful day you've had. It could have just been that, right? It could have had nothing to do with the weight on the trap bar and everything to do with the traffic on your way here. But it doesn't mean we have to just try again. We can adjust a little bit, and we'll find another way to move. We'll get the same training stimulus by going through a different door, and we'll just keep going forward. So it's kind of a constant.
Yeah. Something Carl and I were chatting about last week on the recap of the live was just obviously the responsibility that comes with being a coach. So this makes me think about that a lot, especially for you, right? Because you're DPT and a strength coach. So your words have so much power as it relates to either helping someone get over some of this anxiety or potentially creating anxiety, right?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Words have, what I'm saying basically is that someone else's words prior to their experience with me have stuck with them for some period of time, enough to make them have fear or anxiety or worry years later, potentially, right? And those words potentially have made them avoid certain things, certain movements, certain exercises, certain loads, certain tools, right? And maybe it was one sentence, mentioned kind of in passing with insufficient context that has led to years of behavior change, right? So words are immensely powerful.
Yep. I love it. Brandon has joined us. I'm going to let him onto the stage with us so you guys can chat for a minute. What's up, Brandon?
What's up?
I know you got to overhear a little bit of our conversation, just talking about the coach's role in like minimizing fear and anxiety around the gym. Do you have any thoughts that popped up by hearing that?
Too many. The last thing you were saying, definitely, like, I think a lot of times people, they end up going to like doctors and stuff, and a lot of doctors are very like, maybe it's over cautious is the word. They kind of say things to people and it really sticks in their head. You know what I mean? Like, it sticks in their head for years, and they become like the diagnosis, or they become the problem that they have. And it like you were just saying, like, it takes years sometimes to literally get like a thought out of someone's head of like, oh, my doctor said I'm not supposed to do this, or someone in passing said like you shouldn't do it this way, or you shouldn't be doing this movement or using this supplement or whatever it might be, and they don't know any better, and they take that as like a part of their identity of who they are, and then it really affects them, physically, mentally, emotionally. And then you get them into that setting of like, hey, it's time to just like work out, and you're almost having to like rip away all these layers before you actually get into the training session. And I think that thought alone is like half the battle in the beginning of working with somebody, and sometimes it takes so long that if you're not even aware of it, it's like such a barrier of entry to actually like get someone the results they need, that you have to dig at that point before you get there.
And I think the authority of the person who said it weighs really heavily. And
Exactly.
then, right, that belief would never change if some other statement didn't challenge it.
Exactly.
Right? So the thing that I say could stick with someone forever, if no one ever challenges it, if they never bring it up, if they're never exposed to someone else who may have a different belief about it, a different type of knowledge. I mean, I just saw, I think it was a plastic surgeon saying he doesn't recommend anyone run. And it was for multiple reasons, including like it makes your face saggy. You're like, nobody wants that. So imagine if you hear it right. Doctor says don't run. Bad for your knees, bad for your feet, bad for this, and it makes your face sag as you age. Right? It's like, well, I'm definitely not running. I knew it was bad for my knees because I've heard that. Also not true. Right? Mm-hmm. But it could also make my face saggy. Like, what a nightmare. Then I'd have to go pay that guy thousands of dollars to fix my face. Right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, I was gonna say, I think a lot of times when I don't single out doctors, but like when people say that sort of thing, obviously there's a lot of context that kind of goes into those statements sometimes that the average person isn't going to understand. Like if you and I were to hear that, all of us in this video right now, if we were to hear that, we're going to be like, all right, like contextually, yes, maybe running could be bad if you've never run before, or you have some like pre-existing injury or something like that. But the average person is just going to say, oh, okay, running bad. And that's the rest of their life. That's what they're going to, squatting bad, deadlift bad, whatever it might be, you can throw in there. They're going to literally equate that for the rest of their life until proven otherwise. And that takes a long time. And it's just such a headache sometimes when you're having to go against that on top of going against everything else that gets in the way of actually like staying fit or being fit and then staying fit.
And it's the same reason why, to me, like coaches shouldn't be saying things like, oh yeah, cardio is bad for your hormones. Mm-hmm. And then just like, you ready for your next set? Like, what? Yeah. A lot of context needed.
Yeah. I think that on top, like that sort of thing too, is obviously trainers need to know where they're at with things, but I think also, understanding when you do hear some of these things from people in authority. And this is the part that because I struggle with it, because like you have to listen to somebody, right? Like there's somebody who is up there and like doctors are credentialed for a reason. And it's hard when you go up to someone who's supposed to be like the most highest knowing person of said thing, and they tell you something. It's like, well, if he said it, it must be true. And then you kind of take, again, years out of not doing things, or, specifically, because I've been dealing with this with one of my clients, and it's been an interesting road ahead, because he's getting to this point where he's like, his ability is growing so much, but there's just like this thing that's coming up, and I keep chipping away at it, where it's like, said I'm not supposed to do this, or said I'm not supposed to go above X weight, or not supposed to go said movement. And it's like, we're doing everything like above that already, and it's like this one number sticks in his head. He's like, well, he said this number. And it's like, well, we just did 50 pounds holding in your hands of like walking. And it's like, so, you've already held twice the weight already. And it's like, now we're talking about a specific number that was said, you're talking 5 to 8 years ago, was said to him. And that one number sticks in his head. Right. Or like the other one is like your weight. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to be my high school weight. And it's like, well, what's the context behind this high school weight? Because like you were a completely different person 15 years ago. So to say that this number on the scale is supposed to be the number you're supposed to be right now is just, it's just like, it's like hitting yourself in the knee with a baseball bat and then saying, my knee hurts. It's like, well, yeah, you're not gonna like, it's not gonna stop hurting because you're not giving yourself a chance. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot to talk about that subject.
Oh man, awesome. Well, David, I know you have to get on with your day. Thank you for joining us. And also I hope that the rest of the day goes well after a day of learning and a really awesome morning that you had.
Yeah, nice little morning. Now it's time to write some client programs.
There we go.
Thank you so much. We'll chat soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
All right, B. I'm pulling up yours because I creeped a little bit on your gram as well. And I love how you are creating your own branded lexicon around phases of clients and phases of progression for clients. So I wanted you to just share with us what's going on. Like you're in a creative zone right now. I can feel it.
A little bit. No, I mean, that's something I've been thinking about for a while. I think something I've seen that businesses do really well is they have like the client journey. And I think that's something that's really important for people to know kind of where they're at. And especially with the way I've kind of developed the business over the last few years, like I wanted to create something that gave people an idea of like where they're at, but where they can go, and know that like there are just things that are required of each of these phases. You know what I mean? And it's not to say you'll never get to the next phase, but it's also to say that like sometimes you just don't even need to leave that phase. And it doesn't, those phases really aren't anything else either. It's not like, you're less of a person if you're in build, or you're more of a person if you're in sustain, but it's just like the goal around having an idea of like I am in the build phase of BG Perform. There's just like things that I want you to get. It's understanding movement. It's understanding, consistency. It's showing up to the gym every single day. It's, asking the right questions. It's making changes to your nutrition, becoming more aware of just like everything around you, and building all the things you need to actually like sustain it. Right. And then there's like the sustain level, which is you have all these skills now, and you can use those to actually like maintain your fitness for a long period of time. And then the influence phase is someone like myself, or someone who's training for an event, or someone who is really pushing themselves, which again doesn't make them better. It's just like, hey, like you're training in a way that really people look up to, or people want to aim for, or want to kind of, they go and they're like, hey, I want to be like that person, or I want to be, that's the type of fitness I see as influence, where it's someone who's competing, someone who's doing really cool things, lifting heavy ass weight, running for long distances, doing CrossFit competition, like that sort of thing. And I think that for me, it helps with organizing programming, but also it helps with the average person to say, like, okay, cool. Like these are the things that I kind of want to learn in this section. But if I want to kind of progress, these are the other things that I kind of need to do. So it's like, if I learn all these skills and build, then I need to sustain them in sustain. Right. And then like, if I want to take that next step, I got to sign up for a competition, or I got to do something that's like pushing myself. And it doesn't have to be a competition, but like something that's pushing myself, or something that's, I see individuals who are going outside of their comfort zone to complete workouts, or do things special. And that's kind of where I designed it for, was just to have this idea. And like I said, I think a client journey is really important. Someone stepping in to say like, hey, here's where we're at, but like, here's where you can go as well. If you stick along and you follow the process. So that's kind of where my head was at with that.
I love this thought too around influence. It kind of reminds me a lot of Teach, Learn, Move, Create, in
Yeah.
the sense that if you get to the place of influence, it assumes that you've had some level of mastery
Yeah.
over the things that you're teaching them in build and sustain, and that maybe they're starting to also like share that knowledge with others as a way of even growing more.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, even you don't, because when I think of influence, and I'm going to talk about this on Thursday too, because it's one of the questions I have in like the yearly audit. But
For those of you who don't know, Brandon is
yes,
also one of our ambassadors, and we have a quarterly ambassador only meeting for Q4 coming up on Thursday. And Brandon's going to be walking all of the crew through his annual coaching audit, which we talked about last week on the pod, on the live here.
yeah, and at my podcast, that was my last episode
Yeah.
too. So, but
So go check
yeah,
that out.
yeah. And when I think of influence, it doesn't need to like directly influence somebody. Like I don't need to like walk into a room and pick someone out and be like, you, right? Like when I think of influence, it's like and like the motto of my business is literally like influence the highest standard of coaching. And the word influence has always stuck with me, because it's impacting something, right? It's impacting the coaching field. It's impacting coaches. It's impacting clients who are like, hey, I want to train like this person, or I want to coach like this person. And it's really stuck with me, because I think, again, influence can be direct or indirect, where it's like, hey, directly I'm coming up to you and I have a client, and I'm basically like, coming to you like and talking to you and telling you the things that I believe, and telling you the way that I think you should work out and train, and that's changing your life, right? But then there's also like indirect, where it's like, hey, I know what I want to do on a daily basis, and if I just complete the actions that I want to complete on a daily basis, like I'm indirectly influencing people who are around me to be like, all right, I got to level up, or oh, he's doing that, then like I got to do that, right? Because I have
Yeah,
those
it's like you're
influences.
witnessing the lifestyle,
Yeah, and I have
and
those influences.
people who are just observing you operate
Yeah.
are influenced to some capacity.
And again, it's indirect. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be talking to anybody. It's just like, hey, I consistently see this dude completing all his workouts. I consistently see this dude at the gym at the same time. I consistently see this dude pushing himself. I consistently see this dude, treating others with respect, or just putting himself, learning, reading, making mistakes, like that sort of thing, where it's like, wow, I know I can trust this person, or I can see them improving consistently. That's like, you get that, like when you're around those types of people, you get it, like you feel it, and you're like, all right, I got to level up here. And that's like, to me, that's influence. And I've been around a lot of people who are like that, and like I felt it when you're in the room with somebody who's like, they call it aura, like that's what you kind of feel when you walk in the room with some of those people, where it's just like, damn, all right, like I gotta either level up, and I want to be one of those people, like I want the things that I do on a daily basis.
You are for sure one of those people.
I hope so. But I want to be one of those people who, when I step in a room, it's not like fake, it's not just on Instagram. Like, I want the things that I do on a daily basis to, you know, to affect myself, obviously, in a positive way. But then when people come and talk to me, there's they get influence as well, whether it's like, to do more, to take a little bit of extra time for themselves, whatever it might be, whatever they get. And I think that's the other thing too with influence. The reason why I think it's so important is because, like, for you to not be so like direct about the influence, is because I think a lot of people can take so much from what you're doing in so many different ways. Because it might be like, I've been doing a lot of my hobby with like cards and stuff, right? So people might see that and be like, maybe it is something I need to kind of like find to do that's not 100% this. Or it's like, hey, he wakes up at 5 o'clock every single day, whether he has to or not. And it was 31 degrees this morning, and I was outside doing my run, whether it was cold or not. That's the sort of thing where I want someone to look and be like, fuck, all right, I gotta go do it too now. Like, I can't just, you know what I mean? And I want people to look at that from a perspective of like, hey, I want to be better, but also like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it, and I think that's kind of where my mind is with influence. That's why it's been such a like strong theme of what I do and how I'm like trying to build BG Perform.
Yeah, I love it. So client journey, build, sustain, and influence. And is this something that, as you're onboarding new clients, you're kind of expressing the path to them and then kind of guiding them through that?
Yeah, I think like not so much directly for some of the people, because like I do. There is the process that I take them through. Like, that's just the process that I take it to. I only recently put like words to the process, and I do explain it to people. But for me, like I said, it's almost, again, I think most of the things I do inside of this, or in my coaching, are just things that have helped me. And it's like, I try not to step outside of that, because I don't want to get into that field of like, hey, I've never done this before, but I'm going to try to teach it. So for me, it's like, if I've done it and I know it's helped, I'm going to try to like teach it to people. And I think with like the process I've created, or that client journey, is just like the process that I've been through. It's just like, I started at a phase where I had to lose a bunch of weight, and I had to build consistency. I had to show up to the gym every single day. I had to not really care how stupid or, inexperienced I looked when I was there at the beginning, when I was by myself, and then I had to sustain it. I think one of the biggest things with my weight loss is that I've never gotten back to it. And I think one of the biggest hurdles with weight loss is obviously like, you lose a bunch of weight and then you gain it back, and then you lose a bunch of weight or you gain it back. And for me, it's not even been like I guess during COVID, maybe a little bit, but like, that was just because the world just shifted, obviously, in such a short time. And we were all just stuck inside. But, for me, like, keeping the weight off for over 10 years at this point is like a goal, or an accomplishment. Right. And then influence, to the point that like people want to train with me, they want to work out with me, they want to know like how I'm doing certain things. And that's just the process that I've been through. And I think that's where I want people to see like, hey, if you just follow this along, and I've been a little bit better myself at like really being honest with people, of just like, this takes fucking this takes years. Like, it's not going to happen in 6 months. It's not going to happen in a year. Like, you'll get pretty far in a year, but I've been doing this for, the training's been over 10 years, the coaching's been almost 10 years. And it's it's hard. And not to call her out again, but my sister came in my room last night, and she was saying she had a bad day, and she was just talking about like work and stuff. And I know she was joking, but she was like, "Oh, sorry, not everybody gets to live their dream like yours, just like this." And I was like, like this. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, it's literally been 10 years of just like grinding. And obviously, like you just in the last couple of years, you get those little pieces of you know, I guess joy or fulfillment from it, where you get those things where it's like, ah, that's why I did it, right? And again, that's one of the like I said in the coaching audit, where it's like, you know, what how many times a year are you getting that feeling? Because like if you're getting that feeling a lot throughout the year of like, this is why I coach, then like you're doing things right. You know what I mean? But if you get those feelings like, why do I coach? Is a whole different thing. So I think that's what I try to chase. That's what I try to build in to the training. And for me, it's like I said, that's just kind of the process in which I try to take things in training and coaching.
Yeah, I love it. I wanted to reference a pod. We got to make sure people check out the whole last, I was going to
Yes.
say semester,
I guess season,
series,
semester, yeah, whatever
season,
series.
season. But you ended with the annual coaching audit, and then you're on a little bit of a break as you sort of
I'm gonna
plan for your next season.
start recording the new season tomorrow. I've had a couple questions about like MMA, S&C, athletics training. So I think I'm gonna dive a little bit more into that for this next season, talk a little bit more about the athletic side of things versus like the GPP side, general physical preparedness, that would be. But what the differences might be, what it's like training an athlete, a high level athlete, a lower level athlete, a younger athlete, kind of dive into those aspects as well. But this last season was all about coaching, basically from start to finish, how to improve your career to, how to sell without feeling like a sellout, talking about the system of coaching, and then obviously ending it with like the yearly audit. So, and I got a sheet that I keep forgetting to put on the YouTube, but I have a sheet with the questions on there. I'm going to save it till after Thursday. And I'll post it up this week, but I got all that, and the season's all on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. The links are all in my bio as well on Instagram. So
Yeah, awesome. And when will you be back with the new season?
next, well, I'm going to record it tomorrow. So next Tuesday. So a week from
Oh,
today.
so it's just basically a very brief kind of intermission.
Yeah, just like I said, just a little bit of planning. I like to take like a week off just to plan, and then like basically it'll have been 3 weeks, I think. 2 weeks, 2 whole weeks, just to kind of make sure I'm on the same page with Jerry, make sure I get everything that I want with the episodes laid out, and then just get to recording. So
When you're in that planning phase, thinking about prep for the next season, do you always have like a fixed number of episodes in your mind, or is it just like
I don't know. I've
as
been
the
rolling
plan
with 8.
unfolds, you're like 8?
8 feels good. I don't know. If I feel like I need more episodes, I will. But I think for the most part, 8's been pretty good, giving me a nice like, it's 2 months of podcasts that are kind of consistent. So I think maybe I'll stick with 8. Maybe I don't know, if like I said, if I need more episodes or I feel like I got to talk about some more things, I'll definitely do that.
No, I like that. I mean, it allows you to go like really deep on a
Mhm.
macro topic and obviously like break it down into subtopics. I think you guys are crushing. I love watching the episodes and I love like
It's
the vibe and the
consistent.
energy that you and Jerry have for sure.
Yeah, that's all I'm worried about is consistency, posting as much as I can, uh, same energy, trying to level it up. That's another thing I like to do too. Like throughout the 2 weeks span is like, all right, is there anything in the moment that I can improve on this as much as possible, and how can I do it, and then go from there.
Because the commitment to a podcast can feel overwhelming. But if you break it up like that and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, we're going to focus on this. And then we're going to take like you projectize most things. You projectize the seasons, which
Or
is
just I need
cool.
to. Again, I need to. Like if I don't, then I forget. So it's just like I need to have it where it's like that thing is right there with all the kind of details or the at least topics that I want to discuss in each episode. Uh, I have that laid out. I have whether I recorded it, whether I posted it, and whether I posted the content for it, just because it's like it makes it easier for myself. Otherwise, like I said, I'll just forget because I'm all over the place. But
What's your organization preference? Do you do stuff in Notion? Do you just have a Google Doc,
I
spreadsheet?
use Notion a little bit. I'm not the honestly, I'm like hit or miss on Notion, but been using a little chat GPT to kind of help me organize some stuff too. I found that I made a couple threads. I've been really loving it, just as like a business associate almost. Just kind of like take it on. I tell it what's going on, to a certain extent. Obviously, I'm not. I gotta keep these
It's
robots
not,
at
it's
arm's
not, you're
length.
not doing therapy.
No, no. I'm saying like I try not to tell it too much information about myself, but a little bit about the day, what I'm trying to accomplish, and just like kind of keep me in that like growth mindset of like, what are some things throughout the day? How do I fill some of these gaps? Because last last month or so, I felt like, I don't think I was, but I felt that feeling of like, I feel like I could get more out of the hours in my day. And I wanted just a little bit of like accountability on that end. Cause as much as like I give accountability to a lot of people, sometimes I don't have that person behind me being like, let's go, let's go, you know? So I'm trying to create it myself. Cause I always get a lot done, but sometimes I think with just how I am, I'll get a lot done, but like I could have been a little bit more efficient and like focused. And I'm trying to get back to that point. So it's been very helpful. The last 2 weeks, I felt like really on point, efficient. Like when I'm logging off for the day, I'm like, cool, I'm logging off for the day. I'm not like, I could have done this or I should have done that. So I would say that's been one of the biggest things as well. The organization, like through Notion, Chat GPT, my planner. I have this bad boy right every day.
You can never go wrong with the old
So
school written planner.
literally, this is my favorite.
I was
I mean, I would
I was
prefer to use
actually
this.
just thinking, because I love, for us, for marketing across all three of the products and brands, I'm always thinking at a macro level, like at the beginning of the year, okay, what are the bigger campaigns we're going to have through the year, bigger promotions, bigger launches,
Mhm,
and then I sort of slot the rest of our content strategy according to that.
mhm.
But looking at the whole year and kind of like drilling down, then looking at each quarter, then looking at each month and each week, it helps so much. And I'm such a visual person that I like those old school calendars that are
Yeah.
like big papers.
That I mean, I would like to get a big whiteboard in my room. I thought about it a couple times. Um, so we'll have to look into that too. But yeah, I think there's just nothing like writing everything down because ChatGPT is great, but again, I try not to. I'm really trying hard to not like let it think for me. It's more of just like hey, here's what I'm asking you to do, just do it. Like stuff that I don't want to have to think about, which is like, again, I got, so organize like my leads, organize the people I've reached out to this week, organize the time that I should spend on some of this stuff, and that's really it. But yeah,
Love it. We haven't given people, we haven't mentioned the Fight Camp guide in a minute. Do you want to
maybe
just
not.
share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I created this guide a few months ago. The fight camp mentality, basically like a goals ebook to try to just help people get to that point of like trying to compete for something. And obviously the people who have listened to me before, and if you haven't, I've worked with a lot of high level fighters. One of them back here, Ian, Amanda Nunez, Charles, all those guys.
I
And
love this wall,
I
by the
think,
way.
yeah, I know. I got Ric Flair, the real goat. Arnold right here.
Woo!
This is from
Nice.
what's it called? The Pumping Iron
Pumping
book.
iron?
Yeah, I bought the book, and
Or
when
is
I
it from the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding?
no, this one's from Pumping Iron.
Okay. Okay.
But I had bought the book on eBay because I wanted like the original copy from back in the day, and the one that I bought came with like some loose pages, so I got another one. Um, and this picture fell out, so I framed it, put it on the back wall. So that was cool. But
Love it.
what were we just saying? Oh,
Fight
the
Camp.
ebook. Yeah, so I created and working with those guys. It's just like when you see high level people work, you see what a fight camp looks like, and you can really bring that into the everyday life. And that's one of the biggest things. Like when I sat down and was started like thinking about this topic, and obviously Candace helped me a ton with like organize everything, but that whole fight camp mentality can be brought into the everyday life and how it can actually help you get one to the goal, and then organize everything to accomplish it to the best of your ability. Because I think that's the hardest part. People have things that they want to achieve or goals, and this, it doesn't have to be a fight, right? The whole idea was taking this fight camp mentality of signing a contract, figuring out who's in your camp and what you need, executing on the camp, and then basically getting ready for the walkout. It can be brought into the everyday life. So whether it's you're running a half marathon, or you're competing at a local CrossFit event, or you're just getting ready for the family pictures at the end of each year, like that's the goal. And you can use that mentality to kind of get you there. So that ebook is kind of guides you along that process of how to complete everything, how to look at everything. There's a couple like sheets in there to fill out. That's in my bio as well, or www.bgperform.com/goals. And you can find everything there.
Love it. Well, thanks,
Yes.
B.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for chatting.
Yes,
Appreciate
I will
you.
talk to you next week. Thank you.
See ya. Hey, hey,
Hello, hello.
dude, I've been really creeping on the hoodies.
Mm,
Did you get some new apparel?
no, this from last year.
You had a black one on the other day. That was pretty sick too.
Yeah. And my buddy made fun of me for the speckles on it. It's kind of funny, but yeah, it's the Legends apparel, and I got them last year. I'm gonna try to do it again this year, but yeah, they're super comfortable.
Apparel is so fun. And of course, like all of the enthusiasts, like everyone wants it. But just the when you're doing the production or the orders and the minimum orders and all that can become such a nightmare to manage, huh?
As a gym owner, it's a complete nightmare to manage for me because I hate shelling out a ton of money up front and then holding inventory, and you want to get inventory that people want to wear, right? But that's going to cost a lot more money. And then it's like, so there's always like this give and take with apparel as a gym owner with stuff that people want to wear. Cause like I got these hoodies and these hoodies sell for like $90. And that's with me making a profit of maybe $10 on it, right? From what I buy. Cause I'm not going to buy 1,000 of them. I'm only going to need a couple of them, right? So it's like, all right, are people going to buy them? So it's just give and take with apparel as a gym owner. It drives me crazy.
I know. I forget. I'll send you the link. We went through like a t-shirt printing service where we don't have to keep any inventory anymore. But even that becomes like, the quality isn't as good. And
yeah, but then it still is like as a gym, as a brick and mortar, people want to see it. They want to see the inventory. They want to kind of see it, touch it, feel it. So you got to have some in stock, and it's having like the proper quality, and it gets hard.
Yeah. How's your week going?
Not bad. I got hit with this nasty cold. I wasn't strep, but I feel like I had razor blades in my throat. So I haven't been able to eat in like 2 days. And it's just finally getting better now. So I got this little like go squeeze pouch.
Dang, that probably puts a damper on the training, right? With no fuel.
Yeah. I couldn't even train yesterday. I was shocked. Like I probably had COVID, but I didn't get tested. If anybody is a government or COVID crazy person listening to this, don't leave me a comment, but I did not get tested.
Is it getting cold where you guys are?
It is. It was really cold this morning. Yeah, it was cold. It's going to be like 30 now overnight.
Dang.
I know.
I feel like here in Arizona, it always is like Halloween. The week after Halloween is typically when it starts to cool off and get chilly, and you're like, oh man, I need a hoodie. But the last 2 weeks, it's already been dropping like mornings and evenings. But for us, it's like 60 degrees and we're like freezing.
I know. That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, like I hate the cold. I like the seasons, but I hate the really cold weather, and I hate how it gets dark at 3:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people might say, well, why are you still in Connecticut? And it's like, I don't know why I still here, but I'm still here. At some point, we'll probably head out. I don't know when.
Do you guys think you'll go to Florida like most East Coasters?
I don't know. I like the Carolinas.
Yeah.
I do like the Carolinas because you still get, some cold, some seasonal stuff. We'll see. I think it depends like where our kids are in school and what's going on with the little one at that point.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to drill into a couple of the posts you've made recently, more so the ones around like programming and strength training. And the one I have pulled up right here is your 5 reasons why your programming should be specific. And you list out, let's go one by one. Your limiter isn't their limiter is the first thought. Can we have you elaborate a little bit on that?
I think if I keep it super simple due to time, everybody's specific, and I've said this a bunch. If you're going out there just for GPP and you want to have fitness with friends and you want to just kind of like bounce around, cool. Like jump on a template, do whatever, float around. That can work for a little bit. But as you start reaching higher levels of fitness and you start having specific goals, you need to train the proper exercise selection, movements, intensity, volume that fit you, your body, and who you are and where you are in life. And that's not going to line up with somebody else, especially if you're following a program built for, a 23-year-old stud with no stress involved in their lives, right? So that's one thing that people got to understand. Like your limiter isn't someone else's limiter. Even someone of like age, there's going to be differences with anatomical build, what your minimal essential strain is, what your maximal recoverable volume, your ability to handle stress and load depending upon life and everything else. So that's super important for people to know.
Yep. And your second point is volume that builds them can break you.
Yeah, and I think that's very much tied into the first part. But some people can handle high levels of volume based upon their history with sport and fitness and training, and some people can't. Some people can handle high levels of volume because they have less amount of stress or better stress management protocols, and some people can't. And what works for one person, the amount of work that someone could do, could destroy you and put you on a downward slope to injury, discomfort. I don't want to say overtraining, but overreaching too much and then feeling really beat down and worn out. And I do think people throw around the term overtraining too easily. It's very hard to get overtrained, but training the wrong way can mess you up.
Yeah. Your third point is pace targets. I think it shouldn't be. Pace targets shouldn't be guesses.
Yes. Did I phrase it wrong? I've been known to have grammatical errors.
I think it says should it, but I think it's just missing the space.
You know what, Kandace? It's like I'm terrible at proofreading. That's my worst things. Like I
blame it on fat thumbs. I do this all the time. Or voice text. I'm always like voicing and then I have a million typos.
I never proofread, and I shouldn't say never, but I very rarely do, and it always bites me in the ass. Yeah, like if you're really trying to target into building like an engine, working, whether it's your anaerobic threshold, working on building a VO2 max, you got to understand paces. And you got to be specific with that to enhance that, whether it's in a mixed modal format or a monostructural format. And if you continually kind of guess and bounce around and do whatever, or operate too high and operate out of the specific zones of what should be your prescription, then you're not going to target what you want to target, and you're not going to essentially build what you're trying to build.
Yeah. Your fourth point is progressions need to be planned and not random.
That's a huge thing. I think I don't want to say think, but I've seen a lot of programs out there and I've listened to a lot of coaches talking. You'd be surprised how many coaches in the space don't understand the simple principle of progressive overload or phase potentiation. And if you're trying to enhance something, whether it's a gymnastic skill, snatch, clean and jerk, power, speed, endurance, you're trying to enhance your ability to improve your limiters with inside of a mixed modal format, you have to progress appropriately and progress from session to session, week to week, and do so in a way that's not going to create excessive fatigue from day to day, so your body can adapt to the stressors putting onto it to improve the limiters. And if you don't understand that and don't adhere to that principle inside programming, well, you're never going to get better.
I imagine like priorities play a role there too, right? Because like you're progressing one thing, and if you want to progress multiple things, like you've got to have priorities in there.
Yeah, you definitely got to have priorities in there, and periodization is always going to be some form of blend with everything that we do. Block and concurrent and vertical integration and conjugate, whatever someone wants to utilize. But you got to prioritize your A, B's, and C's, right? Depending upon where you are in the year and what the focus is for that training phase, and then progress that while still layering the proper basement or foundation for other areas to build upon as you get deeper into your training year.
Yeah. Your fifth point, actually, this says 5, and we have 6 reasons. Your fifth point is strength gains need parameters.
I got to proofread better. My goodness gracious.
You know what? I think it's just that the knowledge is flying. You're probably, I can imagine you like hitting sprints and then like thumbing a post and then hitting sprints.
Oh my God. Strength gains need parameters. You got to have set goals. You got to have a set roadmap of the strength and how you're going to get to where you need to get. The accessory work that you're going to put around with it to supplement it. You got to have the proper intensity to volume based upon who you are, and have this outline over this 4, 6, or 8 week training block and how it's going to progress and lead into the next phase of the training, no matter what it's for, right? And if you're following templates or you're following these big mass productions where these strength gains is kind of like thrown around. Like I've seen some programs where people do a heavy single, then a heavy 10, then a heavy 20, and it's just all over the place. And it's like, I'm not mocking it and saying it's dumb, but it's dumb if you have a specific goal. Like, what are you trying to gain out of that? And you got to have a specific goal and set the parameters on what's going to achieve that goal for you from session to session, week to week, block to block.
Yeah. Your 6th point is set intensity loads over vibes.
I think that just comes down to, you can read into a lot of different ways, but instead of being like, oh, I don't feel good, I'm going to do this, or I'm not quite motivated, so I'm going to do this. Understand like where you're at. And if you are a little beat down, you got to adjust intensity a little bit, then adjust intensity. But staying specifically to what you're trying to do to your roadmap is going to get you there, even if you have to adjust intensity up and down, rather than just kind of going off how you feel and jumping around and jumping into this program and jumping into that workout and doing this. Staying focused and staying diligent to what your specific path is.
Yeah. I grabbed this other post because I thought they were very much interconnected, and it also spoke to me personally. So I was like, hey, coach, yell at me. 3 things to make your training better. And the 3 points that you had, I'll read them all 3 and then you can go. Train each exercise with intent. Know the targeted purpose of each session, and keep your phone away.
Yeah. That, train each session with intent. It's something that I think every coach thinks about. I got to credit Coach Travis Mash for that. He put a great post up a couple of days ago just about intent with a barbell and intent on your actions with the barbell. And I don't think enough people think about that. Like let's just say for the sake of conversation, it's 80% back squat 5x5. Are you intently trying to move that barbell for those 5 reps as best and as purposefully as you can with speed and power, or you're just kind of doing the reps to do the reps, right? And operating with better intent for each movement, even if that means you cut the volume down, is going to give you a better return on investment than creating junk volume and junk reps. No matter what we're trying to do, what modality is trying to focus on. The second one was know the target of the session. And this is something that I utilize a lot, whether I'm coaching CrossFitters, I'm coaching people inside the weight room, I'm talking to basketball kids on a basketball court. No matter what we're trying to do, bringing the athletes together, bringing your athlete together and say, this is the focus of this session. This is the goal of it. This is what we're trying to do. And I think once people can grasp onto that and what the overall theme is, what the overall goal is, it's easier for them to focus in on their actions and their purpose within inside that session, which can drive a better return for them on their training. And then leave your phones away. I mean, I think that's plain and simple. I'm guilty of it too, especially with having to film stuff and film this and film that, but not getting lost.
Or log training, even in CoachRx, right? As a client, like
he's there, right? And I think that's cool. So I should have phrased that differently and been like, don't get caught doom scrolling. Don't get caught in your rest time scrolling Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, and losing your focus and losing your intentful actions of what you're trying to do, because that will strategically do it. I've read studies where people would put people in front of screens showing them like terrible form technique, just weird negative shit, and that has a direct carryover to the brain's ability to function on their next task at hand. And getting trapped into that social media world of doom scrolling can, I believe, dramatically decrease your ability to perform, execute, or just stay focused on what you're trying to do over time with inside that 45, 60 minute, 30 minute window, whatever you might have.
I feel like I need, before every session, I need like a coach's notes loom from, I just zoomed in on you. I've got this new webcam from Jason that says like, keep the main thing. Like you're here to work, get your training in, and then you can like work later. Yeah,
totally. And it's hard, right? Especially for people whose brains never turn off, because it's like you're working nonstop, like, all right, training time. And it's being able to kind of cut and have that transition can be challenging, right? It's just like when you start work back up, there's always gonna be like this 5 to 15 minute flow window of you kind of ramping up to get where you need to be. And it's the same thing. You want to kind of put that plane on airplane mode as you start working, because you don't want to get into the flow and then get pulled away by something that doesn't really matter what you're trying to do, right? So it's just our ability to stay locked in to what we're trying to do versus all the craziness that's popping through our visuals every single second.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Well, since we're entering like we're Q4 now, we're entering like, it's almost Halloween, Black Friday, holidays. What's happening in the Conquer world? What do you guys have going on for the last push of the year?
Not too much, nothing too crazy. It's actually something I got to think about more. I haven't really
you have the mentorship rocking right now?
Yeah, we have the mentorship rocking. We're already selling out the next one, which is going to happen January 6th. And we're going to run 4 of them next year. but I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like I've been so busy on creating, like I've been revamping all the operating procedures for the gym and just doing a lot of behind the scenes work with like our sales team and sales format and all this stuff that I actually got to sit down and go through the whole Black Friday thing because I haven't even put thought into what we're going to be doing for that. But it's going to be something that's tied into the mentorship or individual design, as most companies are going to be doing.
Yeah. You know, it's weird. Like I think there was this trend for Black Friday, maybe let's go back like 5 years, where it started to become the whole week of Thanksgiving and then the whole week after. So you had this 2-week stretch where it was like everyone went hard on Black Friday. Then it seemed like for a couple of years, it was the whole month of November into the first week of December.
I know. It was crazy. It was like the whole month. It's like Black Friday starts November 1st. I'm like, what? Like, and everyone does it, right? So then you almost feel like you got to race so like you don't lose a sale if someone else is going to do it. So yeah, maybe, I don't know if like I'm not thinking about it because I've gotten so deterred by just the craziness of it. I'm like, I don't, whatever. But
yeah.
I guess.
And also, I mean, I feel like for all the coaches that are listening too, it's like premium individual design coaching services don't really discount. Like you have the kind of clientele who's here because they're motivated to work and they appreciate the service and it's a high value service.
Yeah, right. It's like, we only really do individual design and the mentorship, right? So it's like devaluing that for Black Friday. Like I get why we do it, but I don't know. If you're looking for a deal on that, then I don't know. I'm not going to keep talking. I might say something that I might regret. So we just got to work.
They're going to get some like hard truth, tough love, motivation from you to just get moving and get going toward their goals for Black Friday. Don't make excuses.
If you're always looking for a deal, then maybe you don't really want it as bad as you do. Think you do. I don't know.
Oh, that was a bar for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, you're good with those mic drop moments.
Everybody wants a deal. It's like, if you really want it, just fucking do it then. Figure out a way. Like,
yeah, you got to put in the work.
Yeah, you got to put in the work. You got to make some sacrifices. Like I've done it my whole life.
Amen. Well, I appreciate you jumping in. That was great to just like share some training wisdom. And yeah, I'll catch you next week.
Kandace, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Chat soon.
Oh, wait. Did you like the podcast?
Love the podcast. Are you guys back with the new episodes this week?
Yeah, we did one last week as well. Yep.
Okay. I mean, I'm still waiting for this mysterious clip that was deleted.
Oh, God. I think I just straight up deleted it. I don't even think I saved it. I can't.
You've empowered Ryan to feel like he can just be as bold as he wants. You're going to have to put some restraints on.
No, someone asked us to go live, and I was like, I don't know if I can go live. I don't know what would happen.
Oh, well, I mean, you're live here with me, but I'm definitely a little bit more controlled than Ryan.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, awesome, Kandace. Thank you so much.
How's he doing, by the way? How's the babies?
Oh, great. Yeah, he's doing really good. Yeah, he just got back in a hunting trip, and babies are doing well, so everything's going well.
Is Christina back in action too, or is she still on maternity leave?
No, she only took like 2 weeks off. Like she's an animal. If 2 weeks, even if that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, animal. So.
Well, cool. Well, I don't want to keep you too much. I know you have a lot to get to, but I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
Bye.
Bye.